Hey guys, welcome to the 16th episode for the game Mass Effect Andromeda. In this episode we are going to read through the Codex, check our inventory, the research center, and so on. It might be a pretty long one. I'd really like to read the Codex entirely. I will try to do that in this one. But I need to find a place. In front of this tree maybe. We could have a nice reading. Right here. So let's proceed with the Codex. We'll also check the journal later. So let's check through all of these folders with exclamation marks. We have some new updates in the journey so far. EOS, the first outpost. You explored and reactivated a mysterious alien vault apparently designed for terraforming, bringing the hope of new life back to EOS. In light of the cat threat, you decided the outpost on EOS should devote all its resources to defending the initiative's foothold in Helios. I guess that was a pretty old recording in the journal. It's been a few episodes already since I've captured EOS and fixed that atmosphere and placed also that settlement. Here we have a new member in the crew, Nakmor Drak. After earning Nakmor Drak's respect on EOS, he agreed to join your squad. The Tempest is a little cozy for a Krogan, but the old-timers made himself comfortable. When not regaling the crew with stories, he hangs out in the galley, tinkering with his guns. And Kello Jeth. You and Kello sometimes chat in your free time. Kello will take any excuse to talk about the Tempest. It seems that Kello and Gil Brady don't get along. Kello doesn't seem inclined to discuss it. Just a little update. And Suvi Anwar. I'm pretty sure I've read through the first line. While chatting, Suvi revealed herself to be a spiritual person. You expressed your own similar feelings on the matter. Suvi appreciated finding someone of like mind. Okay, so we're done with the journey so far. The Andromeda Initiative, known associates. We have PB. Also, this is probably an update to PB, update to Sam. Let's check. PB describes herself freely as the foremost Milky Way expert on the Remnant and their technology. It is difficult to verify her qualifications for this, as many Nexus personal records have been lost. DNA and fingerprint matches give the name Pelisaria Bisail, although according to the revival schedule, that individual should still be in stasis. PB's only comment is nothing like getting a head start. Piecing together information from EOS and the Nexus, PB was born on the planet Hietiana in the Milky Way. After voyaging to Andromeda on the Nexus, she left the station some months ago to explore the Helios cluster alone and become fascinated by the Remnant. She has classified and dismantled several types of Remnant. but she prefers to keep her findings private for now. Psychologically, PB demonstrates both extremely high intelligence and hyper-individualism. Her restlessness is typical of many Asari in their maiden phase of life, though few go so far as to visit another galaxy. Interesting bio. We had an update for Sam also. A recent removal of memory blocks has shed further light on my creation. Alec Ryder built me in part to help his wife, Ellen Ryder, survive a terminal illness, later classified as AEND. He hoped that my ability to affect my host's physiology could either prolong her life or help him to discover a cure. Though this hope was not fulfilled, Alec Ryder later integrated this ability into my core design. Update in the Nexus. Hydroponics. The Nexus' original encounter with the Scourge caused heavy damage to the station. Reports show that hydroponics suffered the brunt of the damage, deepening the resource crisis. In response, Dr. Elliot Camden, the new head of hydroponics, requested that plants be distributed throughout the station to prevent similar losses. According to station resource allocation, hydroponics currently accounts for 38% of the Nexus water ice consumption. After undergoing reverse osmosis to remove heavy metals, the water is divided into a reservoir for each plant variety and a macronutrient mix is added. VI systems constantly monitor the pH, temperature and dissolved solids count of these reservoirs. The flora in hydroponics was chosen by crop varieties and oxygen yield. While most of Nexus oxygen comes from electrolysis, its plants improve overall air quality. Psychological reports also show a marked improvement in station morale since hydroponics recovery. Cultural exchange. The cultural exchange was created to support the Andromeda initiative's principles of peaceful exploration in the new galaxy. Given the high likelihood of contacting sentient alien life in Andromeda, the exchange was designed to educate and inform local species about the history and intentions of the Milky Way settlers. The hope was to avoid any misunderstandings which could lead to suspicion or hostilities and instead foster an air of cooperation beneficial to all. That's it in the Nexus. Some updates in the Andromeda species. Let's scroll it down slowly. Cat data on the biology, culture and history of the cat species. Cat Fiend. Fiends are monstrous beasts with a heavily armored carapace. Unlike the stealthier wraiths, Fiends are besieging units that attack head-on, scattering enemy forces and destroying entrenched enemy positions. They attack non-cat without appearing to need orders. Some scientists believe fiends respond aggressively to an absence of cat pheromones or similar cues. A fiend's carapace is permeated by dense cartilage that makes it both strong and flexible and acts as a shock absorber for incoming fire. Preliminary study of their nervous system suggests that nerve transmission is dampened above a certain pain threshold, allowing a fiend to detect injury but not be slowed by it. Reports of fiend encounters are often accompanied by casualty lists, and the militia advises that only a well-armed and organized team should handle a fiend at full rampage. This is one of those creatures we fought on EOS, I remember. I think I've even died to it once. It got us killed. It's huge. Cat. According to Nexus officials, the aliens encountered on Habitat 7 are known as the Cat, a species that has proven hostile in every reported encounter. Little is known about them or their motives. The Cat possess technology and weapons at least on par with the Initiatives, and have been responsible for the death or capture of many Initiative personnel. The only commonality is that the Cat have a clear interest in the strange structures and technology seen on Habitat 7, and as we now know, on several worlds in the Helios cluster. Scouts and prospecting teams trying to investigate this technology are invariably attacked by the Cat, who take any scans or research materials by force. Why the Cat have such an interest in this technology is unknown, but the Nexus has issued warning bulletins to all off-station teams to avoid these sites for their own safety. Cat Anointed. The Cat soldiers known as Anointed appear to be of similar caste to the Chosen. Infantry equipped with light armor. Anointed, however, wield heavy plasma cannons, making them a rallying point for other Cat forces, and shield themselves with kinetic barriers against splashback. A barrage from an Anointed's plasma cannon can shred through enemy barriers and severely damage ground vehicles. Communication intercepts suggest that Anointed assist in coordinating Chosen squads and act in an NCO role. It is unclear if the term Anointed refers to a senior rank amongst the Chosen, or if Anointed are part of a separate division within the Cat infantry. Cat Chosen. Chosen are the frontline soldiers of the Cat, encountered on multiple worlds as support for other Cat combatants. They are equipped with assault rifles that fires plasma-surrounded projectiles, and light armor that allows them to move and deploy rapidly. Though their biology is still under investigation, they are capable of surviving in hazardous environments without protective gear. While quick to defer to more senior individuals, Chosen appear to be disciplined and loyal soldiers, undeterred even by biotic attacks or heavy ordnance. They present a continuing risk to unarmed outposts. The name Chosen was intercepted and tentatively translated from Cat communications. If accurate, its significance is unclear, since these are clearly the Cat's baseline infantry. Yeah, we killed plenty of such creatures already. And we have the Cat Wraiths. I guess these are those stealth beasts, nicknamed by Initiative scouts. Unlucky enough to encounter them, Wraiths are war beasts capable of adjusting their carapace pigmentation to blend into their surroundings. This ability lets them stalk an enemy over distances unseen or cause sudden disorder in enemy ranks, flashing targets to be picked off by other cat forces. When attacking, wraiths leap and strike with impressive jaw strength that can puncture ceramic armor. Wraiths present an interesting study to Nexus scientists. Initially believed to originate from the same home world as the cat, since they have similar physical characteristics, wraiths show clear genetic similarity with other feral creatures sighted across the Helios cluster. So that's it with the cat. We've read through all their types of units. Only 4 so far. I guess we'll encounter more as we progress. Flora and fauna. Many unique plants, creatures, and other life forms inhabit the Helios cluster's worlds. This should be interesting. Andromeda Wildlife Overview. The nature of life in the Andromeda Galaxy was debated at length by Milky Way scholars. Many Milky Way species show convergent evolution, upright bipeds of a certain height and atmospheric tolerances, leading some to theorize this pattern might give some evolutionary advantage, despite counter-arguments by Hanar scientists. Interestingly, the cat and Angara continue to fit this pattern. The wildlife and flora encountered in the Helios cluster have adapted to the presence of the scourge, evolving epidermal layers or carapaces that can cope with ambient radiation, or in the case of some plants, successfully feeding off it. Many use bioluminescence to attract prey, or as a threat or mating display. Concerns were raised around the ability of Milky Way species to consume proteins from Andromeda, so seed banks formed a significant part of the Ark's cargo. We now know it is safe to consume food grown or hunted here, though enzyme supplements are recommended and have become a social norm at mealtimes. Andromeda Wildlife Manta. Nicknamed a manta by Andromeda Initiative observers, this majestic creature has been sighted on several worlds in the Helios cluster. The Nexus scientists believe it may have originally evolved on a world with heavy deposits of element 0, giving it the ability to lower its mass enough to swim through the air. Expanding the muscular gas bladders on its underside allows the creature to rise and orient itself in flight. We've seen these creatures on Habitat 7, I remember, when we just landed in the first or the second episode. I guess it was the second one. Despite its size, roughly 30 meters, the manta is not a threat to outposts or explorers. It appears to subsist on mineral deposits from rock formations, wrapping itself around rock spires or even against cliff faces to remain camouflaged while it feeds. Their camouflage ability suggests that these mantas have predators or other reasons to remain hidden, but thus far the reasons remain unclear. So we only had 2 sections here. Well, we only explored 2 planets so far. Habitat 7, but I think Habitat 7 is not even fully explored yet. I might get back there and take one more look at that planet and check the map carefully I might have missed something. Maybe not. Well, at least I'm sure I haven't missed anything anything important. And here we have the remnant, probably the most interesting race in Andromeda, and the most mysterious one. I am still amazed by what I've seen in that US underworld filled with remnant technology. It was amazing. Ancient machines with mysterious goals operate throughout the Helios cluster. I have the suspicion that this race might be actually, it's not even a race, it's it might be the legacy of a very advanced race in Andromeda, like some kind of artificial intelligence race, like the Geth in the previous Mass Effect games. I think the Geth also were an AI race, but not nearly as smart as the Remnant seems to be. Not just smart, but advanced, if I can say so. And here we have plenty of sections to read through, and we will go through all of them, of course. Remnant interfacing. Remnant technology requires careful reactivation, dubbed interfacing, a process Alec Ryder and I first developed on Habitat 7. Using glyphs, dense data packets of remnant code, a working understanding of their language, and the interface capabilities of a Pathfinder implant, I can help you trigger or control remnant technology from appropriate locations. So we basically have Sam speaking from first person in the Codex. It's not Alec Ryder, it's not Scott Ryder. It's Sam. Interfacing is the only way to activate certain remnant technology, such as monoliths. Scans and surface damage suggest that the Cat have repeatedly attempted to activate these sites by other, increasingly desperate methods without success. It is not clear whether remnant technology is designed to be activated by an AI. There is no evidence of artificial intelligence in the remnant structures investigated thus far, and remnant bots have only rudimentary programming. However, the glyphs contain recognition keys, analogous to an electroencephalogram (EEG), implying that the system is designed to handle a form of neural input. So it's not even AI apparently, it's some kind of I don't even know what it is. Alien technology, basically. Remnant creators. An artificial creation must have a creator. But there is scant evidence of whomever created the remnant. I have consulted the Nexus scientists. Scans obtained by PB on the condition that I not rearrange her data, and records of your own investigation, but my conclusions remain speculation. We can be certain that the remnant builders are several orders of sophistication above the initiative's technology. Interlinked cluster-wide planetary engineering is beyond the logistics or budget of any known species. The energy requirements alone suggest a Type 1 civilization on the Kardashev scale. On a cultural level, the builders must have been intelligent and capable of large-scale cooperation. The proportions of the vaults and devices found suggest a species with similar physical traits to humans, but with no genetic evidence left behind. Their appearance, along with their motivations, remain a mystery. Yeah, the remnant is a huge deal here. And I really hope we will reveal the mystery behind this race. A remnant breacher. Created by assemblers, these breachers are levitating drones that move in rapid, aggressive bursts using a powerful micro-thruster. PB claims to have named them breachers after mistaking one for an observer, and quickly realizing this new example broke the rules. Analysis of breacher debris shows that their systems are fundamentally unstable. Their power cores are improperly shielded and many of their inner workings are exposed. This suggests that they are created for short-term deployment to handle intruders who stray into remnant territory, and in turn offers some insight into the remnant builders' military doctrine. Combined with single-minded programming that focuses on hostiles, the volatile construction of breachers makes them extremely dangerous. If provoked, the breacher will launch itself at an opponent and attempt to latch onto it, using exposed gears to grind through hard suits and cause severe damage. When damaged beyond repair, a breacher may trigger its power core to overload and self-destruct. Remnant decryption. Most remnant technology is inert or in a standby mode, but some is secured with a decryption grid. Unlocking it requires scanning the correct remnant glyphs and arranging them in a specific order. The glyphs cannot repeat on any straight line or within a square block of 4. PB speculates this could be a safety measure. Even if a method was devised to brute force, hack an interface, it would not work with the decryption grid. Given the devastating consequences when remnant technology is improperly activated, her analysis seems sound. The arrangement of the glyphs appears to complete either a password or a code phrase within the grid as a whole. From the little I understand of the remnant language, they appear to form an almost palindromic Sator square sentence, but the finer meaning would require detailed explanation from the grid's designer. Remnant nullifier. This remnant model appears to have been designed for excavation. If provoked, it enters a siege mode, where it anchors itself to the ground and launches explosive projectiles at a target. In this mode, this remnant constantly runs a self-repair cycle, reducing damage from incoming fire. PB claims that this characteristic is what earned it the name nullifier. Recovery of nullifier parts has been illuminating. They use both balancing pythons and dense ferrofluid reservoirs in their lower extremities to remain stable while firing. Design characteristics that could be useful for initiative mining operations. Their blast shielding is also surprisingly light for its thickness, 72 mm, and density. The plates are cushioned by a honeycomb of shock-absorbing polymer to distribute any ballistic force. However, these characteristics are also what allows them to absorb heavy fire, and act as formidable opponents. Remnant Assembler. Oh, these probably are the most common ones. And the most we've killed so far. Remnant Assemblers were nicknamed for their ability to create smaller units known as breachers. Each assembler contains a reservoir of unknown ferrofluid similar to Omnigel, which can be used to 3D print breachers on the spot with alarming speed. Tactically, assemblers focus on manufacturing reinforcements, moving to safe distances during combat. If approached while in its hostile mode, the assembler can jettison the partially completed power core of a breacher, which acts like an explosive grenade, causing massive damage to enemies and allowing the assembler to withdraw. Upon creating a breacher, the assembler transfers a full copy of its stored recent memory and battlefield disposition to the new remnant, ensuring it is combat ready almost immediately. This capability means the assembler is constantly branching and partitioning its memory in preparation without loss of data, an interesting characteristic that may be useful in future artificial intelligence designs. The Remnant. Remnant is the umbrella term coined for technology, structures, and autonomous bots that have been sighted across the Helios cluster. Seemingly abandoned by whomever created it, this remnant technology is extremely advanced, but most of it is in a standby state. On Habitat 7, Alec Ryder discovered that reactivating this technology requires scanning glyphs, data packets written in remnant coding language, and my assistance with interfacing at particular consoles. This is complicated by remnant bots that still guard and maintain many of these installations. Remnant bots do not appear to be sentient, but they are programmed to consider any interference with their technology as a hostile act and attack single-mindedly. The Cat have an interest in remnant technology and have been sighted across the cluster, attempting to study or control sites where it is still active. Evidence suggests the Cat have not yet developed a reliable method of interfacing. Remnant Observer. Observers mid to long-range remnant drones can be seen at most remnant sites. They are equipped with Element 0 cores that allow them to levitate, and can normally be seen scanning or conducting maintenance at these sites. While they are the least robust of the remnant bots, observers are still a threat to unprepared explorers if provoked. Examination of destroyed remnant observers shows they have multiple sensors. Multiple sensor vectors, visual, aural, electromagnetic, and others as yet undefined, and a comprehensive toolkit of equipment for observation and maintenance, including an ultraviolet beam laser. Serving partially as its primary weapon, the frequencies of an observer's laser appear to react with remnant structures to induce a repair cycle. Observers are also capable of bringing other remnant online, likely as part of their maintenance duties. When asked, PB explains the name observers. With everywhere you go, they seem to be looking at you. Yeah, I've noticed that on these creatures. So we're done with Andromeda species. Very interesting stuff. And now it's time to jump into the planets and locations. The Helios cluster contains many habitable worlds and other points of interest for the Pathfinder to explore. And we begin with Habitat 7. The planet known as Habitat 7 was one of the Golden Worlds, selected by the Andromeda Initiative for early settlement. Signs pointed to a lush and biologically diverse tropical region that could easily support an outpost. With no communications from the Nexus or sister arcs upon arrival in the Helios cluster, the Hyperion approached Habitat 7 to begin survey and settlement operations as soon as possible. But even visual assessments showed that the planet was no longer viable. Habitat 7 is now a storm-wracked world with an unbreathable argon nitrogen atmosphere. Intense magnetic activity in unknown metallic elements interacts with the storms, causing interesting but highly destructive electrical phenomena. The investigating Pathfinder team encountered hostile alien life and strange technology on the surface. Reactivating this technology caused a noticeable change in the conditions on Habitat 7. However, the planet is still unsuitable for settlement, and the resulting activation ultimately claimed the life of Alec Ryder, the human Pathfinder. So, this planet is not viable for outposts. But in my opinion, this planet was more interesting than Eos. It was very exciting to explore it. The Scourge. The Scourge is the colloquial term for a huge and extremely dangerous interstellar phenomenon sighted across much of the Helios cluster. It appears to be a cloud spreading in tendrils that affect planets and surrounding space, destroying starships that attempt to pass through or near it. Early study of the Scourge has been difficult, and it does not match any previously known stellar body, leading to many wild theories about its nature. Given the problems in observation and the Scourge's unaccounted effects on gravity, some have even suggested it is a dark energy phenomenon in the literal sense, meaning a form of energy that has no electromagnetic interaction and thus cannot be detected, hence dark, yet has strong negative pressure, causing expansive effects on a cosmic scale. Though the Scourge's characteristics don't match our current understanding of dark energy, these theories persist while further observations are taken. The Scourge is aggressively drawn to the remnant structures on planets. Though the cause of the attraction is not yet fully understood, this manifests as further tendrils of dust and radioactive particulates that cling to the surface of remnant technology and interfere with its operations. Either this matter was left behind after the planet in question passed through the Scourge itself, or even distant interactions with remnant technology can cause the Scourge to coalesce spontaneously. In either case, even this minor manifestation of the Scourge demands additional caution when approaching remnant sites. Yeah, we've seen this Scourge thing on EOS for sure. I do not recall seeing them on Habitat 7, but on EOS we've seen plenty that come out of the ground. And also, actually no. I can't recall if they are placed also nearby remnant settlements on EOS, but I think I've seen at least two sites with remnant structures on the surface that had this type of dark energy that emitted radiation and could even get us killed. This also could be the reason of high radiation levels on the planets. No long-range data showed any sign of the Scourge before departure to the Helios cluster. Well, I guess this phenomenon started only after we've started the journey from Milky Way to Andromeda. That's why we couldn't spot. Nexus scientists suggest it must have appeared in the intervening centuries while the arcs traveled to Andromeda. That's what I thought. One of the Scourge's more interesting characteristics is that it appears artificial. Its origin point is yet to be determined, but the pattern of the tendrils and the composition of the cloud could not have been caused by any celestial event known to astrophysics. Investigations are ongoing, though slowed by the deadly conditions created by the Scourge. Interesting phenomenon in this cluster, and we will sort it out probably by the end of the game. The Andromeda Galaxy. Well, I don't think it looks like this in real life. It actually looks differently according to NASA pictures. This looks more like the Milky Way, if I recall. Correctly. Located 2.5 million light years from the Milky Way. The Andromeda Galaxy is the largest galaxy in the local group. Also categorized as M31, Andromeda is a spiral galaxy roughly 220,000 light years in diameter, containing approximately 1 trillion stars, compared to the Milky Way's 300 billion. The Helios cluster is a large star cluster located on the galaxy's outer fringe. So I guess this spot right here is the Helios cluster. Andromeda has roughly 14 satellite galaxies which orbit the galactic disk. Evidence shows a disturbance where one of these companion galaxies, M32, passed through Andromeda's spiral arms several million years ago. Andromeda itself is also accelerating towards the Milky Way at a roughly 100 100 kilometers per second. Whoa, that's that's pretty fast, I would say. 100 kilometers per second. In roughly 4 billion years, the Andromeda and Milky Way galaxies will collide and merge, forming a new galactic disk. And I've also read about this phenomenon that might happen in the future. Even if these galaxies will collide, it's most likely that the stars and the planets located in the Milky Way will not hit each other, if I may say so, basically, because of the huge distances between each other. Maybe, I don't know. There might be instances of star colliding or planet hitting each other, but it's very unlikely, because usually planets and stars are very far away, even in the Milky Way, so the chance of hitting each other is very low. Well, that's a theory. I have no idea if it's true or not. That's what I read on the internet. And Eos, designated Habitat 1, was the earliest golden world identified for outpost placement. Named for the Greek goddess of dawn by Jean Garzin personally, Eos embodied the hope of the Andromeda initiative for a new start. On arrival, the Nexus discovered that a world projected to be arid but comfortably habitable was now ravaged by radioactive fallout from the Scourge. So yeah, the Scourge is the cause of massive radiation levels on these planets. This probably was mentioned earlier, but I didn't even know. Now I get it. The planet's atmosphere is wrecked by storms that have spread the radiation across continents. Periodic 130 kilometers per hour winds strip equipment and damage shuttles. Reports from the Nexus include a sanitized account of 2 attempts to colonize the planet, both of which ended in failure and an unacceptable loss of life. There is also a significant cat presence on Eos, apparently investigating mysterious signals on the surface. Eos is now off limits to unauthorized Nexus personnel, as the Nexus leadership believe it is no longer viable. But we have updates. Activating the vault discovered below Eos' surface has had a dramatic and immediate effect. Radioactive particles are being stripped from the atmosphere by unknown means, and the resulting temperature changes are calming Eos' high winds. The planet's moisture levels are already showing improvement. Prodromos, the first Pathfinder established outpost, has been founded in Fair Winds Basin, with Mayor August Bradley in charge. The Nexus is broadcasting footage of departing colonists and the new conditions on Eos across all communications channels. A very interesting section of the Codex. One of my favorites so far. Technology. Information on technology used by the Initiative and other advanced civilizations in Helios. And we have more stuff to read through here. 4 folders. Basically 4 technology categories. We have exploration tools, scanner on the Pathfinder, planetary surveying, especially for potential settlement, involves meticulous scanning. However, there has been little pressure to improve planetary scanners. In its search for a better solution for its pathfinders, the Andromeda Initiative began with hardware salvaged from Geth platforms and software developed by the Solarian STG. With artificial intelligence support, Initiative scientists developed a fast, accurate sampling system codenamed Panoptes, linking it to the quantum computing power of an AI, which can produce multiple analyses and predictive models in seconds. They created an Omni-tool mounted scanner that completes accurate surveys in moments instead of weeks. Yeah, that's a massive hit in technology. This scanner is very advanced. Gives real-time data on the object scanned. For typical scanning, the Panoptes system uses a transmitted accelerator mass spectrometer, TRAMS. This creates a snapshot of an object's components, atomic weight, and radioactivity, and allows me to produce a more in-depth analysis. For biological materials, the Panoptes system switches to an electrospray ionization system, so plants or animals can be scanned without causing radiation damage. Field repurposing. With limited cargo space aboard the arks for specialized gear, and facing unknown dangers in Andromeda, the Initiative's philosophy is adapt to succeed. Colonists are required to have a wide variety of skills. Equipment and weapons are expected to perform multiple functions. However, this adaptability is fueled by non-renewable resources like ammunition, medigel, and power cells. Knowing they would not be readily available in Andromeda, in an emergency, the Initiative's Omni-tools can recover and repurpose appropriate resources to serve a similar function. Liquid coolant allows weapon heat sinks to be reused. Organic compounds can be refined into medigel, and so on. When these resources are available, the user is alerted via an interface between the user's scanner and their HUD. So basically this creates all around the place on the planet. It can recharge our field, from what I've noticed. Our shield, I mean. And restore ammunition. I'm not sure what this sign is. Some kind of energy. And we also have this that replenish the HP. Jump jets. Once proprietary hardware for Turian Special Forces, Initiative armor comes with jump jets as standard. These jets allow a user to make extremely high jumps or hover for several seconds. All colonists are trained in their operation to evade predators or environmental hazards, obtain resources, or conduct maintenance in high places safely. The jump jet itself consists of a helium-3 microthruster with a tungsten-hafnium carbide casing. A gyroscopic element 0 core functions to both keep the user orientated in flight and lower their mass when hovering. keeping fuel expenditure down. Hard-coded safety features prevent continuous operation of jump jets to avoid injuring the user or melting their equipment. This is one of the most useful things on the armor besides the protection. And if I recall, there is no such thing in the previous Mass Effect games. At least it weren't in the initial armor suits. Technology, consumable resources. Now I think that's something new. If I recall, I haven't consumed any of this so far. While Andromeda Initiative gear and weaponry is designed to be as versatile as possible, extraordinary circumstances sometimes arise. Pathfinders and scout forces often turn to less orthodox resources to ensure they survive hostile conditions. Adrenaline is a nickname for a prototype Omnigel OSD package. When deployed, it bypasses Omnitool safeties to small-scale manufacture new heat sinks and provide a temporary but powerful boost to armor. A shield capacitor immediately overlooks a user's shields, bringing them to full power and giving them a boost. This boost is unstable, however, and will be lost the next time the shield is breached. A life support pack boosts the environmental management systems of a user's hardsuit, enabling them to cope with environmental hazards for a longer period. Oh, that's a useful information. We could use these boosts when entering the radiation zones on EOS. Now I will know how to enter that area that I couldn't, because it was basically located in a very very high radiation level environment. Special ammunition packs apply a variety of effects to weapons fire. Incendiary ammo coats projectiles in thermite paste as they are fired. The paste adheres to and burns through armor. Cryo ammo uses Bose-Einstein condensate to freeze an enemy or slow them. Disruptor ammo projectiles carry an electrical charge that damages enemy hardsuit systems. The Cobra RPG package uses a volatile solution of Omnigel to manufacture a short-lived but extremely dangerous projectile. Launched from an Omnitool, it hits with the same explosive power as a portable rocket launcher. And I guess we'll have updates in here as we find new items, consumable items. And Omnitools. Omnitools are handheld devices that combine a computer microframe, sensor analysis pack, and manufacturing fabricator. Versatile and reliable, an Omnitool can be used to analyze and adjust the functionality of most standard equipment, including weapons and armor, from a distance. The holographic haptic interface also functions as a communication device. With sufficient Omnigel or other raw materials, usually converted from salvaged light alloys, plastics, or ceramics. An OmniTools fabrication module can flash forge small three-dimensional objects or emergency suit patches. This allows quick repairs or modifications in the field. The Andromeda Initiative's OmniTools are designed for reliability and efficient recycling of materials. Pathfinder OmniTools take design inspiration from the models used by Solarian intelligence services, prioritizing the computer microframe to allow lag-free scanning and AI support. A useful device, the OmniTool research and development, new designs and advancements in technology. Materials. Crafting new weapons, armor and equipment requires a variety of materials. Though there are strange new isotopes and ores in Andromeda, our scientists have identified familiar elements. Heavy metals such as iron, cadmium, and nickel are used in construction and heavy manufacturing. Their density makes them useful for armor components and ammunition blocks. Many light metals, including silicon, beryllium, magnesium, and aluminium, are resistant to corrosion and invaluable for computer components, heatsinks, and high conductive electrical wiring, while lithium has both engineering and medical applications. Titanium, a transition metal, is eagerly sought after for starship construction. Vanadium improves steel quality and is used by the aerospace industry. Noble metals, including platinum, copper, and iridium, are rare and valuable in the Milky Way. They are often used in high-quality electronics or machine parts that require high precision. Minerals like graphite, used to manufacture carbon nanotubes and carbon fiber, and fluorite for high-precision scientific lenses, are more common but equally useful. The initiative pays well for more hazardous materials. Uranium is used in weaponry and nuclear-powered facilities, while Element Zero has applications in multiple fields. Heavy industry starship engines, jump jet components, or even as an ingredient in many advanced medicines, to name but a few. Weapon and armor mods. Andromeda Initiative equipment is designed to be modular and adaptable to any situation. Weapons and armor in particular are built with the understanding that they will be customized multiple times in the field over their operational lifetime. Gun modifications can be purchased from appropriate locations or recovered in the field. Each weapon's targeting computer also contains an adaptive integration VI that analyzes a mod on installation, adjusts the weapon's balance, heatsink requirements, and ammunition block accordingly, and sends a list of any additional components to the user's OmniTool for manufacturing. The process typically takes only a few minutes. Research Center. A research center is a research and development platform normally assigned to outposts and some select initiative starships. Advanced manufacturing capability, small-scale manufacture, and information processing allows the research center to develop new technology and build it almost on the spot. They are also used to build powerful augmentations that enhance the capability of equipment. Given the initiative's current limitations, bandwidth and resource allocation to research centers is carefully monitored. The Nexus underlines the importance of new discoveries by rewarding scans and information gathered via a points system, commonly referred to as Research Data Points, RD. This can be used for access time at research centers to discover or create new blueprints. Settling Helios. Technology to build a new home from the ground up. Charting Andromeda. Charting the Andromeda galaxy for habitable planets presents a unique challenge. Observation is limited by light, and given Andromeda's distance, any observations from the Milky Way are 2.5 million years out of date, enough time for a planet to have altered irrevocably. Initial attempts to identify settlement sites were made by obtaining SARI astronomical surveys and running them through predictive models. But Jean Garzon was unwilling to risk thousands of colonists without solid information. Eventually, the initiative obtained promising data from Quarian explorers who claimed to have found a Geth array on the fringes of the Perseus Veil. This array was supposedly built from 3 mass relays, using sensors in the combined relay corridor as a form of FTL telescope to observe dark space beyond the galactic rim. Why the Geth expended so much effort to study dark space is not known. Amongst these observations were near contemporary surveys of Andromeda. When our predictive models confirmed them within an acceptable margin, the initiative was able to begin identifying golden worlds. Communications and QEC. Communications have always been a concern for interstellar colonists. Trade, defense, and political representation depend on reliable lines of communication. The most sophisticated method is quantum entanglement communication, QEC. This utilizes a pair of particles that are linked on a quantum level. Any effect on one particle is mirrored instantaneously. Damn it. Any effect on one particle is mirrored instantaneously by the other, regardless of the distance between. Pathfinder implants use miniaturized QECs to remain in contact with their AI partners. However, manufacturing these particle pairs is a delicate and difficult process, especially with resources limited in Helios. Long term, the Andromeda initiative plans to establish a COM relay network, transmitting data between buoys linked by mass-free corridors of space. The Scourge has hampered these efforts. In the meantime, initiative starships act like maritime mail packets, carrying secure data packages that transmit to approved colony receivers once they're in range. The transmissions are limited by the ship's data storage and the capability of receivers, but improvements are ongoing. Starting to mess up a bit after so much reading. Let me take a break of around 1 minute and then we'll continue reading this on. Alright, let's continue. Forward stations. Automated forward stations are part of the initial wave of exploration or colonies deployment. They contain valuable resource caches for explorers to resupply, repair stations for vehicles, and ground-penetrating sensors to identify mineral deposits. Their presence improves the chances of a planet being considered viable. When a planet is seriously considered for settlement or a survey is ongoing, forward stations are seeded into orbit via automated barges. Once summoned to a designated zone, forward stations descend and anchor themselves on the ground, becoming valuable landmarks. Most scout rovers have forward station connectivity, allowing them to be summoned to the stations. Current resource constraints mean that in theory, only Pathfinders have official sanction to call down forward stations. In reality, reports show that enterprising colonists or unscrupulous scavengers have been known to hack the signals to raid the stations for supplies. Mining. Without a steady supply of minerals and metallic ores, the initiative's engineering capabilities grind to a halt. With plans so far off schedule, it's even more important to gather resources wherever possible. On the ground, pathfinder scanners and the ground-penetrating radar of forward stations assist in locating resources for immediate harvest, or for colonists beginning their own mining operations. In space, initiative starships can pinpoint resources from orbit. Each ship is equipped with probes that contain both a sensor beacon and robotic drones that can harvest at least a percentage of any deposits quickly. The Nexus has relied on asteroid mining for the raw materials to support the construction efforts, which yield heavy metals and platinum. The Scourge is a rich source of element 0, but the hazardous conditions destroy most robotic telepresence, making it an expensive pursuit. Most prospectors look on nearby planets for a jettison rock and debris from the Scourge, which often contain ESO deposits. Whatever it is supposed to mean, I have no idea what's this. ESO deposits. Seriously. Terraforming. Terraforming is the science of making planets more viable for life. Soft terraforming involves the introduction of bacteria or ocean algae to bind toxic gases or adjust a hostile ecology. Hard terraforming is often conducted on arid planets with a thin atmosphere, using the impact of a comet or asteroid to warm the planet before introducing microbial life. This process can take centuries. Terraforming even a barren planet often involves significant financial and ethical hurdles. The Andromeda initiative has the capability for terraforming if necessary, but is limited by the time frames involved. The Golden Worlds surveyed from the Milky Way were intended to support quick colonist deployment, with second-tier candidates identified for potential terraforming later. If the remnant vault on Eos is intended for terraforming, as evidence shows, its function is unprecedented. The ability to effect change on a global scale in such a short time defies our understanding of planetary science. Cryogenic stasis. For many species, early long-range exploration relied on cryogenic stasis. Without modern FTL capability or long-distance transit methods like mass relays, the distances involved in space travel meant that most crews would die of old age before reaching their destination. Cryogenic stasis gradually lowers the body's temperature enough to slow its vital functions, but not low enough for damaging ice crystals to form before the pod generates a mass effect stasis field that suspends both the individual and the interior environment in the pod. Contrary to depictions in popular media, the individual is not conscious of time passing. From most travelers' perspective, they lie down in the pod only to be awoken moments later. Stasis failure, while regrettably common for early expeditions, has been vastly improved over the years. Even in the event of catastrophic system failure, multiple monitoring VIs and fail-safes are in place to initiate an emergency wake-up. Very interesting stuff. I wonder if we have already such a technology available. Today, I mean. So people could fall asleep in such stasis and then wake up after 100 years and see how the human race evolved, or even if it's managed to survive. Just imagine if you could fall asleep for 1 year each 100 years in such cryogenic pods. So you could basically live like one year, then fall asleep in stasis for 100 years and so on, just waking up for 1 year. This is crazy. So if you would spend about 1000 years in stasis, you would actually only live 10 years of normal life. Can you imagine what a life that would be? Okay, time for the final section of technology, tech and biotics. Second, the science behind abilities that seemingly defy the laws of physics. Element 0. Oh, so this is ESO. I wondered what that is. This is element 0. Also known as ESO, the rare material known as element 0 generates a field when subjected to an electrical current which raises or lowers the mass of all objects within it. This mass effect forms the basis of modern technology, from weapons and manufacturing to enabling faster than light travel. Element 0 is generated when solid matter, such as a planet, is affected by the energy of a star going supernova. The material is common in the asteroid debris that orbits neutron stars and pulsars. Though mining such regions is extremely hazardous and requires significant investment. Various isotopes of element 0 have been identified, though the rarest have only been observed in laboratory conditions. Surveys of the Helios cluster suggested the region is rich in element 0, which was a deciding factor in the Andromeda initiative's decision to settle there. Without ESO, the initiative's technology would quickly become obsolete. Faster than light drive. A starship travels faster than light using an element 0 drive core. In special relativity, an object approaching light speed effectively gains in mass until it would take infinite energy to propel it. But a negative electrical current running through an ESO drive core lowers the starship's mass, allowing it to travel at faster than light speeds. Motive force is provided by the ship's thrusters, chemical rockets, commercial fusion torch, or military anti-proton drive, in addition to the faster-than-light drive core. Without thrusters, the ship has no ability to move. Standard drive cores build up a static charge during operation and must be discharged periodically. Otherwise, the core discharges into the ship itself with catastrophic results. The initiative's drive cores intended for long-term voyages are designed to recycle or reduce static buildup. Mass effect fields. Element 0 can increase or decrease the mass of a volume of space-time when subjected to an electrical current. With a positive current, mass is increased. With a negative current, mass is decreased. The stronger the current, the greater the magnitude of the dark energy mass effect. In space, low mass fields allow faster than light travel and inexpensive surface-to-orbit transit. High mass fields create artificial gravity and push space debris away from vessels. In manufacturing, low mass fields permit the creation of evenly blended alloys, while high mass compaction creates dense, sturdy construction materials. The Andromeda Initiative's technology relies heavily on mass effect fields, from reduced mass supply drops for outposts to the impressive long-range drive cores on the arcs. Artificial intelligence. While a virtual intelligence is little more than a sophisticated interactive operating system, an artificial intelligence is a self-aware computing system capable of learning and independent decision-making. Creating an AI requires adaptive code, a long education, and a specialized quantum computer known as a blue box. In the Milky Way, artificial intelligence is considered a threat to galactic civilization. The Geth, synthetic life forms who turned on their Quarian creators, are often used as an example of the destructive capability of rogue AI, and those who attempt to create an AI without strict Citadel Council oversight are subject to sanctions or even arrest. Alec Ryder's research papers claim that experiential separation is the root of conflict between organic and synthetic life. That an AI sharing the experience of its creator would have no desire to rebel. My connection to your Pathfinder implant and physiology makes me the first iteration of this new approach to AI. Biotics. Biotics are rare individuals with the ability to create and manipulate mass effect fields. Given the correct implants and careful training, a biotic can raise defensive barriers, yank opponents off their feet, or shred an enemy apart at the molecular level. A biotic gains these abilities after exposure to dust, form element 0 in utero, or via secondary exposures at a young age. Though this often results in fatal cancer, roughly 10% of those exposed develop element 0 nodules along their nervous system. Once activated by the body's electrical impulses, these nodules allow the biotic to create mass effect fields, though most need a neural implant to wield them effectively. Some species, like the Asari, are naturally biotic, but human biotics are still relatively rare, and many view them with suspicion. The Andromeda Initiative has proven attractive to biotic applicants. And we're done with technology. One last section of the Codex remains one last category: ships and vehicles, the vessels and transports that make exploration possible. We have plenty of ships in here, a lot of them. We'll be beginning with Ark Parchero. We are still expected to find this Ark. We might find it. Ark Parchero is the Andromeda Initiative's designated vessel for transporting Salarian colonists to the new galaxy, mirroring the design of its human counterpart, Hyperion. Ark Parchero can accommodate 20,000 passengers and crew in cryogenic stasis. Parchero's development was plagued by early delays and disagreements between its senior crew and the initiative's design team. The Salarian penchant for constantly pushing the boundaries of technology was often at odds with the realities of budgets and time constraints. At one point, it was calculated that if every vital and necessary improvement suggested by the Salarian contingent was incorporated into the Parchero's design, its launch would have been delayed until 2204 at the soonest. After considerable negotiation and debate, a compromise was reached and Ark Parchero departed the Milky Way in 2185 in the initial wave of settlers under the command of Captain Lamont Hager. ND-1 Nomad. Seeking a suitable scout rover, the Andromeda Initiative purchased a promising but rejected design from the Systems Alliance military. The issue quickly became apparent. On rough terrain, without the bracing of heavy armor, the chassis was prone to twist. The initiative had already developed lightweight but strong memory alloys which solved this problem. The resulting ND-1 Nomad exchanges heavy armaments for superior agility. The rover has a tripartite element 0 core, which allows fine control over acceleration and a more modest helium-3 fuel cost for its micro thrusters. Its lighter weight enables both 6-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive, and 4-wheel steering for hazardous surfaces. Fitting the initiative's adaptive philosophy, the Nomad can be customized with appropriate camouflage or initiative colors. When necessary during long-haul exploration, the rover contains an emergency shelter. It can produce potable water from its hydrogen-oxygen fuel cells, though scientists recommend adding a flavor pack to it first. The Tempest. The Tempest is a survey ship designed for a long-range, long-term exploration under a Pathfinder's command. Its lightweight and efficient design allow it to operate with a small crew and minimal resources. Built by the Andromeda Initiative, the Tempest makes use of several once proprietary technologies, including an IES stealth system originally developed by the Systems Alliance. Many of these systems were permitted on the condition that the Tempest only operate in the Andromeda Galaxy. The Tempest's engine is a variation on the Ark's ODSY drives that allow long-term operation, capturing a percentage of the static build-up in capacitors. The recycled electrical charge powers several of the Tempest's onboard systems. As a Pathfinder vessel, the Tempest has research and development facilities, laboratories, and a well-appointed meeting space to accommodate dignitaries, anticipating any potential first contact scenarios. I love this ship, the Tempest. It's like our house in Andromeda. Arc Louisiana. I'm sorry if I'm not spelling this properly. Constructed in orbit around Pyaris in the Asari home system Parnitha, Arc Louisiana is named after a kingdom of wealth and learning in Asari mythology. She is built to the same specifications as her sister Arc Hyperion, with internal modifications to accommodate Asari social preferences, and captained by Elonis Atandra. The Andromeda initiative was initially rejected as a human-driven boondoggle by many Asari investors, and the construction of the Louisiana was met with ridicule. However, the efforts drew the attention of several matriarchs who had assisted in previous attempts to send crewed missions to Andromeda, and their impassioned extranet addresses helped turn the tide of public opinion. At her departure ceremony, Arc Louisiana was officially blessed by the Autumna Politeia, an organization of Sirist high priestesses from across the Asari republics. Arc Louisiana traveled to the initiative rendezvous point in 2184 and left the Milky Way as part of the initial departure wave in 2185. Tempest technology. The Tempest required a number of experimental technologies to accommodate the unique requirements of a Pathfinder team. Its planetary surface imaging, for example, uses photosensitive and radar LIDAR emitting microsatellites that coordinate with the Tempest's router back to SAM node. I then conduct simulated scientific and probability studies on the data before presenting the Pathfinder with a summarized analysis, typically in 0.5 seconds. The Tempest's computer network presented interesting challenges. As most Milky Way computer systems have anti-AI safeguards built in, the Tempest's network had to be designed from scratch to accommodate my interaction with the ship's systems. Firmware bridges inspired by studies into Geth networking technology allow me to temporarily interact with and augment sensors, communications, and the ship's navigation array. Given the desire to reduce mass without sacrificing safety, the electrical charge from the Tempest's capacitors is used to keep the ship stable. Via prototype piezoelectric vibration reduction (PVR) technology. When the ship's superstructure is bent by vibrations, such as during atmospheric re-entry or complex flight maneuvers, piezoelectric elements receive an electrical charge that bends bulkheads in the opposing direction, reducing vibrations and smoothing the ship's flight path. Research capabilities. Pathfinders are often the first to encounter new potential threats or valuable technology. The Tempest is therefore equipped for sophisticated research and development in the field to support a fast turnaround of any necessary upgrades or analysis. Its research center syncs with the Tech Lab systems, giving insight into the capabilities of new materials and their potential applications. My connection to Arc Hyperion and the Nexus allows me to transfer data and latest discoveries from the scientists stationed there. Quantum computing enables multiple complex simulations to be run simultaneously, and new components or configurations can be tested virtually before they are built. Stealth system. In 2183, the Systems Alliance and the Turian hierarchy co-developed the IES, Internal Emission Sink, stealth system for small military frigates. It's unknown how the initiative acquired this system for its survey ships, as IES stealth technology is classified. Despite valid security certificates, no record of negotiations exists in the Nexus legal archives. An IES stealth system is designed to capture the heat and radiation emitted by all starships in refrigerated storage sinks, effectively removing the ship from sensors. Initiative starship systems are streamlined to emit less electromagnetic and particle radiation, and to lower heat production. This reduces the amount of emissions to be stored. Additionally, breakthroughs in cryogenic research allow the storage sinks to be more effectively refrigerated, allowing longer stealth time before the sinks must be vented for safety. The Tempest can remain stationary in stealth for several hours, or travel at faster than light in silent running for shorter periods. Arcnatanus. Arcnatanus was constructed in orbit around Aventan, a once lucrative mining planet in the Turian home system Trebia. The Ark was named after legendary spacefarer Pelex Natanus, who is believed to be the first Turian to travel through a mass relay. The Natanus is built to similar specifications as the Asari and human Arks, but with minor changes to accommodate her dextro-amino acid-based passengers. Natanus is captained by the renowned Dia Praeton of the 6th Fleet. Like most economical ventures, Turian investors were turned onto the Andromeda initiative by their clients, the Volus. The Turian hierarchy was intentionally kept in the dark to keep the initiative a private, civilian project. Arcnatanus traveled to the initiative rendezvous point in 2184 and left the Milky Way as part of the initial departure wave in 2185. Tempest Laboratories. The Tempest is equipped for long-range survey and scientific studies, which are carried out at the ship's two main labs. The biolab is equipped to hydroponically grow both Milky Way and Andromeda plant life for research and consumption. The plants also clean the ship's air and generate a modest amount of oxygen, Sealed observation chambers are set up to study small fauna, sequence genetic material, or simulate bacterial growth in carefully controlled conditions. All biomatter entering or leaving the lab is subjected to additional quarantine measures. The tech lab is used for engineering and technical studies, spectral analysis using laser apparatus, and for analyzing the capabilities of discovered technology. New minerals or metals can be subjected to additional resistance testing before being used in the Tempest's research center. Because of the potential volatility of new materials, the tech lab is equipped with heavy radiation shielding and can be sealed off in an emergency. Hyperion. The last recording in the Codex. Hyperion serves as the main vessel for carrying human settlers bound for Andromeda. Named after a Greek mythological figure associated with knowledge of celestial bodies, the Hyperion represents a breakthrough in intergalactic travel. Substantial money and resources were devoted to its construction, all privately funded by Jean Garrison and the Andromeda Initiative. Built to withstand the rigors of a nearly 2.5 million light-year voyage, the Hyperion is outfitted with ODSY drive core technology, which allows the ship to make a 600-year voyage safely at faster-than-light speeds. It features enough stasis pods to accommodate approximately 20,000 settlers and crew. Hyperion left the Milky Way in 2185 as part of the initial wave of departures under the command of Captain Nozomi Dunn. Amazing stuff and information. So much information to grasp. I may as well also take a look in my skill points. I have quite a few. 8 points to assign. I still have none into the biotics. No points invested here. And no points in tech. I might get some passive abilities from tech and biotics. But not now. I will just go for those combat abilities. Should we further upgrade into sniper rifles? Let me see. Rank 4. Minus 25% sniper rifle weight. Plus 15% sniper rifle spare ammo. I don't even know for which one to go. We can choose between these two. And how many skill points does it need? I have no idea, it doesn't show in here. Well, let's go for this, since I don't have problems with reloading the ammo. So it cost me 4 points. And this will cost 5, so the rank number is the number also of the skill points required. We'll be having a reload speed in here. plus 25 sniper rifle clip size, I don't need those. And the last one is sniper rifle damage and force. Yeah, I will just invest into these two at the next level ups. And combat fitness, I will need this for sure. One of the best passive abilities. Let's see. This one gives me plus 20% health regeneration cap, plus 50% health regeneration, and plus 20% shield regeneration. And this plus 30% consumable effectiveness. No, let's go for this, obviously. I am using those consumables very rarely, so I don't think it's worth it. So far we're good in here. Confirm and exit. New profile unlocked. Initiative gunner unlocked. The soldier profile is now at rank 2. Okay. No skill points here, they were assigned automatically to Cora. And same for the other crew members. They will get assigned automatically when they will have enough points for the required ability, required skill. I don't want to spend time in managing also their skill points. We spend enough time with reading, so let these points assigned be assigned by themselves. I don't care. I will take a look in the journal in the next episode to check through the quests. For now, let's check the inventory, and then I'll see if I will also research and develop any new stuff, because this is getting really long, so I don't even know now. Here we have a new weapon, M5 Phalanx 2. Well, it's probably not new, it's just level 2 of the same weapon we've had before. But I will still read through it. In the Milky Way, the M5 Phalanx was the product of the Alliance's offensive handgun project. It is an accurate, close quarters weapon with minimal recoil and solid stopping power. The versions purchased by the Andromeda Initiative were intended for civilian use, but are modified for more robust applications. Assault rifles. The Cat Zalkin rifle is a mainstay among Cat forces. The semi-automatic weapon releases its plasma-surrounded projectiles in a 3-round burst, a feature which earned the weapon its name, roughly translated as 3 stars. Shotguns. Disciple 2. I'm pretty sure I've read through it before. And sniper rifle mods. We have plenty in here. SR calibrated receiver 2 allows shots to significantly penetrate solid objects, but reduces clip size. Plus 54% sniper rifle penetration damage. Minus 9% sniper rifle clip size, plus 1.17 sniper rifle ammo penetration distance. SR vented barrel 2. Rare weapon mod substantially increases damage but at the cost of fire rate. I will consider this. Currently I have this plus 9% damage equipped on the sniper. So instead of this thermal clip, I might go for this one. We'll get even more damage with the sniper. On armor we have some new helmet stuff. Initiative helmet 2. Just a common thing that I will not use. Standard issue, Andromeda Initiative hard suits are designed for exploration as much as combat. combining jump jets, high-grade external and internal sensors, and a variety of atmospheric filters with the usual kinetic barrier generators and ceramic armor plating. Personnel equipped in these suits can enter and leave alien biomes without fear of contamination or hostile wildlife. And we're almost done with the inventory. Let's also check the resources. Aluminium, common material, a valuable non-magnetic light metal, useful in construction and manufacturing despite its relatively low melting point. Aluminium can be detected via orbital scan and mined with the Nomad, as most other resources. We also have nickel, or nickel, a corrosion-resistant transition metal useful for manufacturing purposes. Tech materials. Cat alloy, common material. The Cat utilize a number of unfamiliar alloys in their technology. At this time, the initiative is unable to replicate most of them. These alloys can be acquired by defeating Cat enemies or dismantling their weapons and armor. They can also be purchased from certain merchants. And augmentations, one last. Read, Reaction Displacer, provides a bonus to one or more stats when used in the development of an item. Oh, I will use this at the next item development, maybe some kind of sniper rifle upgrades. So we're done with the inventory and the codex. It's only left to check the research center and develop some new stuff. But I am afraid I will do this in one of the next episodes. I think it is enough for this one. There is already enough information to grasp and assess. I hope you guys enjoyed this informative episode. Thank you all for watching. As always, leave your feedback below the video. Leave a like if you enjoyed this, leave a dislike if you haven't, and I will see you next time.